waters are fast-moving.
Unlike other big rallies,
Bit earlier at about 7 a.m. A group from the Coast Guard.
Welcome to #PHVote 2013.
Today on Rappler, Senator Miriam Santiago steps down as an international criminal court judge. The Philippine Supreme Court stops the Bureau of Internal Revenue from requiring doctors to disclose service fees. And China blocks several Google websites ahead of the 25th anniversary of the crackdown on Tiananmen Square.
Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. Senator Miriam Santiago says she is stepping down as a judge of the International Criminal Court, or ICC. 3 years after she was elected judge, Santiago says her chronic fatigue syndrome forces her to resign from a post she never assumed. An international law expert, Santiago is the first Filipino and first Asian from a developing country to be elected to the ICC, an independent body that prosecutes individuals for serious international crimes like genocide, crimes against humanity, and war crimes. But she deferred assuming the post in 2012, citing her high blood pressure and a condition known as lazy bone marrow. She held onto her position as Philippine senator. Senator Santiago also vows to block the confirmation of Welfare Secretary Dinky Soliman Tuesday. She cites Soliman's shifting loyalties between former President Gloria Arroyo and President Benigno Aquino. Soliman was once Welfare Secretary under the Arroyo administration. Santiago says she'll invoke Section 20 of the Rules of the Commission on Appointments, or CA, at the hearing Wednesday morning. Section 20, when invoked by any member of the CA, effectively kills any nomination without need for explanation. Santiago says she will attend Wednesday's hearing even if she is on extended medical leave to block Soliman's appointment. In 2011, Santiago also moved to defer Soliman's confirmation over the same reasons. It's been more than a month since the Bangsamoro Transition Commission submitted the draft of the Bangsamoro Basic Law for Malacanang's review. But Malacanang can't say whether it could finish the review by June 11th. MILF Vice Chairman for Political Affairs Gadzali Jaafar says Bangsamoro leaders are worried because of the delay. In an editorial on its website, luwaran.com, the MILF says Malacanang should speed up its review of the bill. When Congress adjourns on June 13th, lawmakers won't be returning to work until a month later for the State of the Nation address. If Malacanang submits the Bangsamoro bill before June 13th, lawmakers can call for committee hearings over the break. The Bangsamoro Basic Law will serve as the legal framework for the creation of the new Bangsamoro political entity. It is the product of the final peace deal between the government and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, or the MILF. The Supreme Court stops the Bureau of Internal Revenue, or BIR, from requiring doctors to disclose their service fees. The High Court issues a temporary restraining order on BIR Revenue Regulations 4-2014, which orders self-employed professionals like doctors and lawyers to disclose their service fees to tax authorities. The move was part of the BIR's campaign to promote transparency and eradicate tax evasion among self-employed professionals. Philippine security forces arrest a Muslim rebel linked to a 2009 roadside bombing that killed 2 U.S. soldiers. The soldiers were riding a military vehicle that rolled over a roadside bomb on the southern island of Jolo. Mihaji Hamjuda, also known as Mahang, helped manufacture the bomb. Police officials say Mahang belonged to the Moro National Liberation Front, the MNLF, a rebel group that's the forerunner of the smaller Abu Sayyaf terrorist group. For the first time, Filipinos dive into Benham Rise, an underwater plateau now part of Philippine territory. What's the significance of Benham Rise and how can it impact our future? Paterno Esmaquel reports.
It's the first time divers see the new territory, a place 50 meters under the sea. Benham Rise, the newest part of the Philippines. The Philippines won this underwater plateau in 2012 before the United Nations. It's found off the coast of Aurora Province, islands away from the disputed South China Sea. It's believed to be rich in minerals and natural gas. Exploration team leader Dr. Cesar Villanoy compares their expedition to the one by Ferdinand Magellan, the Portuguese who discovered the Philippines in 1521.
It felt a lot like what Magellan felt when he was exploring. So being able to touch Benham's bottom was very exciting for many of us, and being able to see what the Benham Bank looked like at the bottom was very interesting for scientists as well.
28 researchers and divers joined the expedition. The divers reached the shallowest part of Benham Rise, called Benham Bank. The team uses a GoPro camera, a dive computer, and a set of weights. It's 50 meters deep. Villanoy says scuba divers usually dive only 30 meters under the sea. Divers stay 50 meters under the sea for only 5 minutes. They do their dives every other day, collecting water samples in between. Villanoy says the extensive garden of corals surprised their team. He also says the water is so clear. 19-year-old diver Socorro Rodrigo is the youngest member of the team. She says Benham Rise can play a crucial role in the country's future. To do this, Rodrigo says the government needs political will.
Benham Rise seems to have been given to us as a second chance. We've destroyed a lot of our natural resources, or at least exploited them not sustainably, and this seems like a chance to do it right. There's a lot to be found in the Benham Rise: fishes, mining resources, and I hope that we can use them sustainably.
Right now, the experts need the government's help to explore and study.
Going out to these deep water areas is very expensive, and you need a specialized equipment and specialized people to be able to study those areas. So maybe government should also support marine research even more.
It will take years to discover Benham Rise's real potential. For now, divers can only marvel at the beauty of this place that Filipinos can truly call their own. Paterno Esmaquel, Rappler, Manila.
A Chinese Coast Guard ship fired a water cannon at a Vietnamese vessel Sunday in the latest confrontation over disputed waters in the South China Sea. The Vietnamese vessel is said to be severely damaged. This comes after Vietnam accused a Chinese ship of ramming and sinking one of its fishing boats last month. China's installation of an oil rig in the disputed Paracel Islands last May led to a sharp rise in tensions, with Vietnam triggering the biggest anti-China riots in decades. China claims nearly the entire South China Sea, clashing with the territorial claims of neighbors Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Taiwan, Vietnam, and the Philippines. China blocked several Google websites ahead of the 25th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square crackdown. Censorship monitoring service GreatFire.org says Google services, including search and Gmail, are now blocked. The move comes ahead of the anniversary of the June 4th, 1989 crackdown on pro-democracy protests in Beijing. Google says it had nothing to do with the shutdown. China blocks access to websites like YouTube and Twitter using a system known as its Great Firewall. Apple unveils its new operating systems at its worldwide developer conference early Tuesday morning, Manila time. It releases the Yosemite OS for desktop devices and new iOS 8 software for iPads, iPhones, and iPod devices before an estimated 6,000 developers from all over the world. This year's WWDC also marks the launch of Wi-Fi voice calling from one Apple device to another, whether mobile or desktop. Yosemite features include continuity, which allows tasks started on one Apple gadget seamlessly handed over to another Apple gadget nearby. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today. A list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 5, The United States proposes cuts of up to 30% in carbon emissions from power plants. Power plants account for some 40% of U.S. emissions of carbon dioxide, the most common greenhouse gas that contributes to climate change. It is President Barack Obama's most ambitious action yet on climate change. The proposal is politically sensitive because coal, among the dirtiest energy sources, remains a major U.S. industry. The rival Republican Party denounces the plan. At number 6, Nigeria's capital, Abuja, bans all protests in support of more than 200 girls kidnapped in April. In a report on CNN, Commissioner Joseph Mabu says the protests pose a serious security threat to those living around the city. He claims dangerous elements will join the groups under the guise of protest and detonate explosives to embarrass the government. More than 200 schoolgirls were kidnapped in April by militant terror group Boko Haram in an act that drew international condemnation. And at number 10, Maleficent star Angelina Jolie drops hint she will retire from acting after her next big project, a biopic of Cleopatra. The Guardian reports the star may concentrate on her work as director and United Nations ambassador. Jolie says about her role as Queen of the Nile, "It's one of those that you think maybe that's the one you put everything into and that's where you end it, that's where you finish in a great way." At a press conference for Maleficent last month, Jolie also said she wanted to do other things. Jolie's second film as a director, the biopic Unbroken, will be released in the U.S. in December. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. For our social media posts of the day, opponents of Thailand's military coup risk arrest by flashing the three-finger salute from the Hunger Games, the movie, to defy the ban on public protests. The gesture has become the unofficial symbol of resistance. Critics of the May 22 coup, including the youngest daughter of ousted former Premier Thaksin Shinawatra, posted photographs of themselves flashing the Hunger Games salute on social media. A London-based Thai tweets, "Dear #Hunger Games, we've taken your sign as our own. Our struggle is non-fiction." In the Hunger Games the movie, residents of a dystopian future North America initially used the gesture to mean thanks, admiration, and goodbye to someone they love. It later becomes the symbol of the uprising against a cruel, totalitarian regime. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page. That crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories that have gotten the most number of votes on their mood meter. These stories have affected our readers and our viewers the most. Take a look at the 10 stories here. Interestingly enough, let's take a look at today's story. It's final. Miriam steps down as ICC judge. Interestingly, 15% happy and a large 78% sad. The mood of the day you're seeing in this bright green, still for the third day in a row. We've got 2 of them, the power of emotions, the commencement speech I gave at UP Medical School, and this one, from sleeping in slums to a scholarship in Germany. This has gotten the most number of votes for the third day in a row. It's about a 16-year-old who moved from the slums to a scholarship in Germany. 77% inspired. That green bringing out the mood of the day. Second day in a row, most people are inspired. That is Rappler's Newscast for today, Tuesday, June 3, 2014. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.